Oh, look, I found yesterday's show right here in the trash where it belongs. Sorry about that, guys. Terrible Sunday edition of the Power Five. Certainly not indicative of the results we've been seeing lately. More on that in just a little bit. I am number one at WagerTalk the last 3 days and last 7 days with all premium releases. Certainly think that deserves maybe a thumbs up or two. I've got some conference tournament action coming up today on the Power 5, as well as 3 games on ESPN, one of them on ESPN2, plus a look at the Big Sky Conference, which is wrapping up its regular season tonight. Conference winners still to be determined there, yes, in all college basketball edition of the show here on Monday. But let's start in the A-Sun tournament. I talked about it yesterday here on the show. This is the first conference tournament to get underway. All games now being played on the campus of the higher seed. Nevertheless, I like 5 seed Eastern Kentucky getting 2.5 at 4 seed Jacksonville. 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Big revenge spot here for Eastern Kentucky. Not only were they swept in the regular season by Jacksonville, losing both meetings, but the Colonials certainly remember getting upset in last year's ASUN tournament as well as the 1 seed by this Jacksonville team. And let's look at the respective ATS results down the stretch. Eastern Kentucky 7-3 ATS their last 10. Jacksonville just 2-7-1 ATS their last 10. Give me the better team playing with revenge. I wouldn't be surprised if EKU made a run to the tournament final. Wake Forest is at Duke, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Get ready to hold the old nose on this one because I would take the points with the Demon Deacons. Looking right now at the WagerTalk live odds screen, they are plus 19.5. That is down from an opening number of plus 20.5. Yes, Duke is an exceptional team. They've won and covered 5 straight, but North Carolina's on deck. I know this is the last home game for the Blue Devils. Not like Cooper Flagg has spent 4 years here, though. Just feels like too many points to lay. Now, I know Wake Forest is only 3-5 against the number their last 8 games, including 0-3 the last 3. But both times they were a dog in that stretch. Not only did they cover, they won outright. Obviously not calling for the outright win here, but the Demon Deacons did cover as 11.5-point dogs at home the first time they faced Duke this season. Only lost by 7, including that game. Wake is 3-1 ATS its last 4 as a dog. Take the points. Kansas at Houston, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Talked about this one on the morning wager. There is a lot of finger pointing going on right now in Lawrence, Kansas. Most of it directed at head coach Bill Self, as his Jayhawks are now just 5-6 straight up the last 11 games after losing 78-73 to Texas Tech over the weekend. This is a Kansas team that's already fallen out of the top 25. So the question becomes, what exactly is the bottom of the market on this team? Well, I think it's tonight as they're catching 9.5 at Houston. For the record, this number opened plus 10.5, so early money has come in on Kansas. Now, Houston is a team I respect a ton, okay? I have them power rated number 3 in the country behind Duke and Auburn. Houston's already clinched the Big 12 regular season title, one of only 4 teams to be top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency at KenPom. Houston's only regulation loss this season came against number 1 Auburn, pardon me. However, let's look at what the Cougars have done recently, okay? They did not cover against Iowa State, who was without their top 2 scorers. Only won by 8 against Texas Tech, who was without 2 of their top 3 scorers. Then over the weekend, did not cover here at home versus Cincinnati, laying double digits. And do we all remember what happened the last time Kansas and Houston played? The Jayhawks gave that game away, blew multiple possession leads in the final 10 seconds of both regulation and overtime. They lose in double OT, 92-86 is what how things ended up. Look, as rough as this season's been for Kansas, they've only lost 4 games by more than 9 points. I mean, if they get blown out here, Bill Self, woo, I wouldn't want to be him. I think we get a real inspired effort out of the dog, Kansas plus the points. While that game is going on at the same time on ESPN2, we've got Wichita State at North Texas. Was really impressed with North Texas winning at FAU last Thursday. I was dead wrong on that game when I broke it down on the College Basketball Tip-Off show. The Mean Green have now won 5 straight. They're also 4-0-1 ATS in that same stretch, laying 7 here to a Wichita State team that just had a 6-game straight-up win streak snap Thursday, lost 80-72 at home to UAB, but it is the total I want to focus on here. That number currently sits 127.5. As we know, North Texas likes to play very slow. They're 362nd out of 364 teams in adjusted tempo. Not surprisingly, that results in them being number 2 in the country in scoring defense, just 58.9 points per game allowed. They also allow the second fewest number of made field goals per game, the third fewest number of field goal attempts. So it could be a rough night at the offensive end for Wichita State. It was 58-54 when these teams met in January. North Texas pushed as 4-point favorites. I like the under again here. Last one for you is another 9 p.m. Eastern time tip-off. Northern Colorado trying to clinch at least a share of the Big Sky regular season title is up to an 8.5-point favorite at Weber State. That is at DraftKings. You can get that number. Mark Zeno and I broke this one down on the morning wager. We both liked Weber State getting points. One additional thing I'm going to point out now is when these teams met back on January 2nd, Northern Colorado closed -6.5. That was at home. Now they're laying 8.5 on the road. Does not make a ton of sense to me. Yes, Northern Colorado won that first meeting 89-72 and needs a straight up win to finish first in the conference. But here's the thing their 3-point shooting dips to 33% on the road compared to 41.3% at home. Take the points with Damian Lillard's alma mater. By the way, I misspoke on the morning wager. This game is not on ESPN2. That is the Montana game that is on ESPN2. Game is on ESPN Plus. Here's your quick recap of the Power 5 and All College Hoops edition. In the ASUN tournament, we like Eastern Kentucky getting 2.5 at Jacksonville. I like Wake Forest getting the points at Duke. I would play that down to 17.5. Kansas getting points at Houston. I'd play that down to 8.5. Wichita State, North Texas, under 127.5. I'd play that down to 126.5. And then like Weber State getting 8.5. I'd play that down to 6.5. At home versus Northern Colorado. You can comment down below with your thoughts on any of those plays. Let us know what you're betting on Monday as well. Now, how about a quick recap of my weekend at WagerTalk.com? I went 8-0-1 the last 3 days. Number one at the site. Also 16-5-1 overall the last 7 days. That too is number one at the site. Coming off a monster 5% winner on Sunday with Illinois. I'm now an incredible 27-8-1. My last 36 premium releases at wagertalk.com. So head on over to wt.buzz/BP right now and get on board for March Madness. You can get the rest of my college basketball season for less than $5 per day. That is going to do it for the Power 5 here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. Smash that like button if you did. Until next time, let's cash some tickets.